According to the Central Bank of Nigeria, diaspora remittances increased year-on-year by 130% to $553 million in July 2024 when compared to the corresponding period of 2023. The Central Bank of Nigeria disclosed this in a statement signed by its Acting Director, Corporate Communication, Mrs. Hakama Sidi Ali, noting that diaspora remittances are a crucial source of foreign exchange for Nigeria, supplementing both foreign direct investment and portfolio investments. According to the Apex Bank, the continuous rise in remittances was due to its recent policies geared towards improving liquidity in the country's foreign exchange market. This figure represents the highest monthly total inflows on record and reflects ongoing efforts to enhance liquidity in Nigeria's foreign exchange market. On this episode of the program, our guest shall be discussing the benefits of the rise in foreign remittances and what it means for Nigeria economy. Welcome to another episode of Nigeria Today. My name is Eukaria Clinton. Thanks for joining us. Now, joining us for the conversation is Niyi Akinshiju. He's an investment and financial analyst. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thanks for the privilege. Thanks for having me.
Also in the studio for the conversation is Yushau Aliyu. He's an economist and a public affairs analyst. It's good to have you in Nigeria Today.
Thank you once again. Thank you.
Now, I'll start with you, Niyi. Let's start with what diaspora remittance is.
Yeah, it's indicative of the title itself. Diaspora. It simply means Nigerians abroad who are sending money, foreign exchange, back to the country. So it's and of course we know that we have a huge diaspora population across the world, but especially in the United Kingdom and the United States of America. But wherever a Nigerian is and is economically engaged, and there's that bond between the Nigerian traveler and usually his family back home. So it's a way of taking care of the family back home. So it's also called social investment. It's the diasporan send money back home for the parents or to build houses, to acquire assets and all that. The inflow of this kind of money into the economy, into the domestic economy, is captured as diaspora remittances. And they are very important, significant aspects of foreign inflow. One, they are very cool. They are the opposite of hot money, where portfolio investment, portfolio inflow is known as hot money because it's very active. Once there is a little sign or indication of a crisis, the portfolio investor, who is usually not a Nigerian, takes his money and flee the jurisdiction. But the diaspora transfer are usually settled because they come to attend to social issues within the economy, and therefore there's no likelihood of a flight. And it's usually encouraged again because it has longevity. Most people that are sending money to their parents or to their family or to acquire assets are not looking, to take the money back, and they are not looking for profit, except for those who are investing consciously, either in the stock market or in the capital market or for their own businesses.
Okay. Now, you haven't heard the opening remark of Niyi. Now, what role do these remittances play in the Nigerian economy, and how significant are they to the country's development?
It is significant because the monetary authorities are using it as the first instrument to stabilize foreign exchange liquidity. And once you have that liquidity sufficiency, it means that there is tendency to have price stability from the exchange rate to the goods we consume, and probably to all related services. It is important, once we are speaking about remittances of individuals in diaspora, it is applied to all economies. India was a game changer as far as diaspora is concerned, remittances are concerned. And because of the revolution of the economy too, the Indians were able to suit different jobs categories. So Nigerians also being resilient and hardworking. Most of them are professionals, and these professionals have a lot of target of investment. Experts who are in diaspora, who are on medical lines, are trying to bring sophisticated equipment to build hospital, to build health facilities. These are needed for an economy that is looking for human capital development in question. In addition, these diaspora remittances, we have to also look at the percentage of the population that is giving these drives. 15 million Nigerians in diaspora, a large number of them professionals. Not only being professionals, like rightly pointed by Mr. Nee, but they have a bound of trying to build their environment, especially their communities. We have seen this in all spheres of life, and this is why if you have experts who are still thinking national, who are still, some of them are still paying taxes. So you find a situation where the remittances coming into the economy will now respond to the foreign exchange demand. That response, we have to salute the Central Bank of Nigeria. Saluting the bank, if you have a 130% increase above $500 million, and you quantify, for instance, in 2023, where you have above 24 billion inflow, 24 billion is a very serious financial instrument to kickstart an economy. If you take Nigeria compared to either our neighbors, West Africa, or you take Africa in general, by population size, by professionals engagement, by even nationalistic tendencies, Nigerians must be saluted for creating an avenue where our national growth and development plan can be positive. Remember, this diaspora remittances is also an imperative to our GDP growth rate.
Okay, thank you very much, Yusha. Now, Nee, if you look at the figures ranging from just this year, from January, you see in January we have $138.56 million. February, not too high, 39.14. Then coming down to April, $133.31 million. Then in May we have $365.44 million, which is the 90% surge from April. Now, from January to May, we had 163% increase. That's from 138 to 365.44. So, so what exactly is the CBN doing, really, that is giving us this result? Just shed more light on the efforts.
Well, it's simple. There is no time, there's no point in time that the average traveler, and I'm using it as a universal figure of speech here, the average traveler does not look back, to his or her community and send money. But the limitation is that he or she may be sending money through informal channels. So where he's sending money through informal channels, the CBN will not be able to capture that. There was a time when we had a large difference gap between our official market, so-called, and the parallel market. That was an attraction, for those who were sending back money to the country to go rather to the parallel market, And when foreign exchange are directed at the parallel market, there are channels that cannot be captured by the CBN. So it's lost more or less to the economy. It's not as if it's not within the economy, but it's not captured formally. So we, in matters of planning and all that, you cannot properly reference that the quantum of foreign exchange that would have come in through that channel. But I think what the CBN had done, principally, one, is to increase the numbers of international money transfer operators, by doing, and also by properly monitoring them and allowing the fact of exchange in naira, reduce the possible tendency for dollarization. At a point in time, the policy of the CBN was to have dollar transferred into the country, into the economy, given out in that same dollar format to the beneficiary. That is wrong, really. The policy focus then was to saturate the black market, so that the price, the rate would fall with increased supply. But with the orthodoxy adopted by the CBN now, is to say no, our money, what we spend in Nigeria is naira. That is one. Then two, it is better for us to channel it into our own reserve, and we are able to do whatever we want to do with it. So you have more money operators, international money transfer operators licensed. Then you also have the bridging of the gap between the rates of the parallel market and the official market. So there's a tendency to direct now, to the official market. In fact, at the point in time, the rate in the official market was higher than the rate in the parallel market. So that was a disincentive to even go towards the parallel market. And then you also have we are near the real value of the naira, because we call it depreciation, devaluation, however I want to call it. You have more naira now for $100 note of a dollar, and that is a major incentive, for the Nigerian out there. Despite the devaluation, so-called, we enjoy the benefit of purchasing power parity. So therefore, the example is this: you want to take a standard tea in a shop, a front row shop on any street in London, you are not likely to get that cup for less than £1. You are not likely to, or equivalent of $2. Now, by our own conversion here, that is 3,000 naira.
Nobody wants to do that.
Nobody wants to do that, So what we are saying essentially is that they have more. You earn so much money there. By bringing the money here, you earn so much money, and you also know that when you are spending here, you are spending to economy. You will not buy that $2 equivalent of cup of a teacup in Nigeria. It's the most you can spend on the cup of even in the very distinguished hotel is 500 naira. So because of that, there's that incentive now to send money back, because Nigerians abroad are getting more naira, more quantity of naira for each dollar they are sending, or for each pound they are sending.
Okay, that you shall, from what Nia said, and of course what you have said, the remittances, these signals, development for the country. And now, what innovative ways can be employed to encourage more Nigerians, living abroad, to send remittances back to their homeland? Because as much as we say they are beginning to send, some are still not sending. Some are still not doing that. So
ironically, the central bank has already devised a mean. Prepared willingness, willing buyer, willing seller. This is a good model. But what is significant, not just merely, is to encourage professionals not only to be sending for communal, but it should be organized. Our Nigerians in diaspora must be organized sectorally. Do you understand? To invest in critical investment that require high infrastructure, high technology, importantly in communication. If you can encourage investment and you go to the stock market and then encourage shareholders participation, the diaspora will now bring more money into the economy in an organized manner. The second option, which is also very important, those in diaspora can be encouraged to participate in some of the incentives created by the government, especially these waivers in food importation. They can monetize these values by importing required items, which at the end will be a benefit to the economy and will also be a benefit to those in diaspora. Let me give you precise assumption. Paddy rice that we are given an opportunity to import without taxes. You can encourage those in diaspora to buy the same paddy, send it without tax in Nigeria, and it will help the rice milling industry. This will help categorically to bring additional food into the economy, additional price stability into the economy, and at the same time creating avenues to create more jobs within the same economy.
Now, having heard what Yusha has to say there, what will you like to see the CBN do more, to ensure stability in the demand and supply of foreign exchange?
Stability. Well, I think by driving more diaspora remittances, it's part of the agenda to have liquidity, because the operational word is actually liquidity. And you also realize that recently the $500 million fund, was launched. The whole idea is to have Nigerians, either domestically or abroad, buy into that fund. One, it's a fund that is denominated in dollars, 500 million. Now, when that is, I hope it will be subscribed, if not even oversubscribed. But it's principally, I know it's also principally targeted at diaspora Nigerians. It's a way of formally engaging them. So it's not this one, unlike the social transfers. This is investment transfer. If this is successful, it's likely that there will be more like this. Because what the economy needs now is more inflow. And the more the inflow is tended towards the social non-flight inclined fund, it helps the economy to stabilize. And I'm saying non-flight inclined fund in comparison to the capital or the portfolio fund. Like I noted, portfolio fund, it's hot money. It's not tied to anything, and we are having more of that too. But again, if we also reference what we shall talk about Nigerians, to encourage Nigerians to remit more, one is to encourage Nigerians to even go into diaspora. For me, it should be a policy. And I have started seeing one or two policy that has that character. It's the Indians made it a deliberate, conscious policy to grow their high city sector. And either in-house, in Nigeria, in India, or outside, they were engaging. So that today, most technology-based companies have Indians at the top. They had this vision a long time ago. Google, Yahoo, just keep talking about any technology-based industry, firm in the United States or in the United Kingdom. You have most Indians, populating that the industry. When people say Japa Japa, so what is wrong with Japa? It is a privilege. It is an economic engagement. It is a quest, And the Nigerian person had been known across the world to be a person of resilience. No Nigerian, except, of course, you have some few, but the natural characterization of the average Nigerian is that we are hardworking, we are educated, and of course, very resilient. So
I'm very confident.
I'm very confident too. So since we have that kind of population, there should be programs like the ICT 3 million targeting young people to train them, in technology. When you train these 3 million people, most of them will not get that economic opportunity in Nigeria. But because they have been trained and empowered and have capacity, they would even be engaged from outside Nigeria. Recently it was announced that our non-oil trade had up to about $55 billion, and 70% of that value came from ICT, trading, in ICT services. We have more Nigerians now developing softwares, and softwares are sold outside the country.
I will have to stop you here, Nii, so that Yusha will also add his voice to this. Quite a lot of, he's just highlighting some of the positives of the Japa syndrome.
Yeah.
So I wanted to also add a voice to this. Now, in addition to that, what impact does the increase in the remittances have on reducing poverty levels and promoting financial inclusion?
You see, financial inclusion has to do with financial literacy. Many Nigerians in diaspora, depending on the part of the world they are operating, the international money transfer operators there should be an additional monitoring by the banks to understand kind of remittances. If, for instance, Nigerians who are earning legitimately abroad will be guided more, they can be an avenue, like I pointed out, instead of transferring the dollar in terms, but the pressure that we are experiencing in terms of demand and supply from the monetary authority is that there is high request of foreign exchange for import purposes, especially PMS as of today. Why can't you organize our people in diaspora to engage with their exchange there, to process the import there for internal use, so that prices will go down, jobs will be created, additional capacity will be added to our manufacturing, and at the end, crime will be eliminated. But let me tell you, I go with the point of recruiting consciously because we have the number. And these numbers are very necessary, because if out of five black men in the world, one is representing, Nigeria is representing one, then there is need for us to...
If not two.
That's exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So there is need for us to understand that capacity that we are having, and also to look at what we are trying to build in terms of employment generation. Once you are employed, you have income, your effective demand becomes positive, poverty is eradicated.
Oh, thank you very much. Now, we've had to wrap up today's episode of Nigeria Today. Very big thank you to our guest. We had Niyu Akinshiju. He's an investment and financial analyst. Thank you so much for your time and your thought. And also we had Yusha Liu, who's an economist and a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for your
Once
contribution.
again, thank you very much.
And thank you for being part of the program. Don't forget, Nigeria Today airs every weekday at 7:30 p.m. on Nta News24. You can also check out this episode and others on www.youtube.com/NTA News24 Hub. Once again, thank you for being there. I am Ikaria Denton. Goodbye.